you so much. Are we rolling?
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ms. Jindal, for joining in. You spoke a lot on accessibility, and that remains a fill in the blank so far for India. But having said that, we see a lot of programs, a lot of initiatives being taken shape. What is your top three priorities when we look at 2026?
Uh, Very good question. Thank you for having me over. And in 2026, for me, the three most focused area would be transport, and that takes care of railways, airways, as well as last mile connectivity is very close to my heart. Then I'm looking at tourism, making an impact with tourism, and sports facilities.
Interesting. You have given us many examples when you were giving us your address. Example of toilets. You mentioned Commonwealth sports. You mentioned last mile travel accessibility, and a lot more examples. But can you give us more examples when you look back in your journey of last 24 months or roughly 3 years, and also talk about what do you observe when it comes to gaps? What are some of the problem areas? What are some of the opportunities for growth that you observe very closely?
The biggest gap that I see is people are not following universal design. What happens? Accessibility is currently confused with disability. So you have some disability organization to come and do the audit, and then they suggest things as per only their disability, and they do not talk about universal design. And when that doesn't happen, that one chance to make things accessible gets lost. So I really urge people to not fall for these traps, but actually not change universal accessibility designs at all. This will be the biggest caveat that we talk about today. The other gap that I really notice is awareness. If, let's say, we make anything accessible, but if we don't talk about it, if we don't popularize it, then how does the common person ever get to know that something like this has happened? So that is one area which I feel is extremely ignored and very weak in terms of creating noise about things that were made accessible, and to maintain it like that. This will be the third most biggest blockage, is that we don't know how to maintain. We use the ramps given to get into the bus queue shelter and out of it for mobile to actually ride on it every time they are caught in a bad traffic jam.
A very real example.
Right. So these small misuses of things that are accessible for a larger good actually gets lost. So the minute they put a bollard in the middle of that ramp, it's not possible for a mobile to go up on it, neither it is for a wheelchair or a walker to go up on it.
Understood. And you have put a great impetus on awareness when it comes to India's story. But apart from awareness, when we look at economic growth, when we look at developmental graph of India, when we look at businesses, when we look at different sectors of India, and also society in a big manner, because we are still struggling as basic topic as toilet. Do you really think is India ready for this discussion?
Well, I would say India is completely ready for this discussion, because when we went to rural India and talked about accessible toilets, a two-pit toilet to be made accessible, they really grabbed the whole idea. Earlier, we forget that toilets were out there in the open. And so a person could go to a place where there could be a tree or a branch, or they use their creativity to still be independent. But once it's a small cubicle where it is going to be just solid, just a pot or just a little bathing area, they don't have things to hold on to. And that's where accessibility comes into being. And if rural India can understand accessibility and can actually take a loan to take care of that future need, why can't urban India do that? So I think this is the perfect time to talk about it, and yes, it's relevant for today's citizen.
Interesting. Just the final bit of our conversation, Ms. Jindal. Uh, I mean, I understand that there is a chronology of doing something, and if we start today, we will land up somewhere in 20 years. If you would have started this conversation 20 years ago, we would have at a better place right now. But if I were to ask you 20 years down the line, and you look back, you reflect, what is that one big change in India you would aspire for?
Well, I did start this journey 25 years back. So where I am, I think I am because of the 25 years of journey behind me. When I look back, I think there are a lot more people who are now aware. They want to talk about this subject. The government also is waking up to it. With the para athletes breaking the records in the world, I think we're all very, very proud Indians for what they have achieved. And we are wholeheartedly supporting them. And that's why 2030 Commonwealth Games, I have a lot of hope from them, and that things will be more accessible and we all will finally taste freedom.
Wonderful, wonderful. It was lovely speaking with you. Thank you so much for making time for speaking with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.